Retro anime. How did we find it? How does it hold up? Unpacking the ins and outs of being an old school nerd and proving that 80s kids can't remember a damn thing right. These are the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd.
Welcome to Mindless Midlife Musings of the Anime Nerd. I'm Rick, and I'm joined by the rest of our panel, Brian, Vic, and Lynette. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I gotta tell you, I am waiting to see how you're going to introduce this.
I am. Oh man, I don't know. That's like
now we're
this-
placing bets. Will Brian
the high
let Rick
bar.
finish?
No,
I know.
look, gotta tell you, I'm going to interrupt one thing.
I'm fair. It's fair. It's fair.
All right.
All right. So in today's episode, we see if we can survive as we merge psyches with Genocyber. Genocyber is a 5-part OVA based on a manga by Tony Takazaki.
And there we go. Only reason why I'm interrupting this
Yeah.
is because the title card
Yeah.
is the title animation
Yes.
of where they put Genocyber.
Yeah.
And I caught it. It was Genocyber. Then underneath it says Cyber Monster from an Imaginary World.
Yes, that is the full original title of the manga that this anime is based off of.
That's the only thing I needed to do.
Yeah.
You can continue. We're gonna get back to that.
Oh, we
Cyber
are.
Monster from an
From
Imaginary World.
the
All right.
Imaginary World.
Okay.
Yes, it was directed by Koichi Ohata and animated by Artmic and Artland Studios. Genocyber was released in May of 1994, with a North American release by U.S. Manga Corps not long after that. It saw its most recent release on Blu-ray by Discotech Media in 2021. We might have missed that because of, I don't know, like a global pandemic or something, but it did happen and it did come out and is available to those of you who might be interested. So the plot is actually broken into 2 parts. The first half centers around a young girl named Elaine, her sister Diane, and the creation of Genocyber, a combination of cybernetics and psychic potential. And we'll talk about the second half when we get to that part. We're gonna talk about the first half, and it's important to note. I feel like it's very important the time period we're dealing. We talk a lot. We wax nostalgic all the time about the 80s and 90s, but this came out in 1994. We were just wrapping up high school at this time. This came out at a time when anime was still on the fringes. It was starting its big boom. And Genocyber was one of all the anime studios. They all had their huge push towards something wild, fantastical, something just that was going to get people talking. Every anime company that was distributing in the United States, they each had a title, something that was going to get people to go, holy crap, what is that? Streamline Pictures had Akira. Manga Entertainment had like Ninja Scroll, and like everybody had a thing.
Something.
U.S. Manga Corps, they leaned hard on MD Geist, which we'd already covered, and Genocyber. This was their 1-2 punch. So much so that the ending theme, Fairy Dreaming, from this anime series was the music for their sizzle reel. It was just the karaoke track for that song was their entire sizzle reel.
I'm talking about the Happy Go Lucky song, right?
Happy Go Lucky song with an epic guitar riff, by the way. And it was their part of their whole marketing sizzle reel. Genocyber was meant to elicit a holy shit out of the viewer. And holy shit.
I think we should talk about it. We possibly, when we were watching this, could have established like a bingo of things that we're going to say. Like as something happens. Holy
Right.
shit was definitely one of them. Another one. What the fuck?
Definitely. What the fuck? Jesus
even
H.
give it-
Christ.
Free. Yeah. Jesus H. Christ.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I watching? That's another one. Oh, our eyes can't
Hmm.
get any wider talking
Yes.
about.
And I think just why is probably
Yes.
is
or
probably one of the ones.
ooh.
So Genocyber has a reputation amongst anime fans, especially anime fans from our age group, our era, as being one of the most violent anime ever released
I
in
can
North
believe that.
America.
Look,
And
Brian has the same look I have in my head at the moment.
that is
look.
a reputation that is well earned.
It, it's not. It's not the. It's the typically when we're talking about violence.
Yeah.
You look at the violence kind of like teenage, like a ERSB rating.
Right, yeah, sure. If we were rating this as a video game, what would we rate
Right,
this?
but the level of violence. Typically,
Yeah.
most of our anime, it hits a certain age, like 14, TV 14, and
Right.
then that's where it will stop. No, this violence is rated E for everybody because anybody and everybody can get it.
Everybody. There is no
Literally everybody.
restriction.
Everybody.
So the first part of the story, Elaine and Diane's story, is there are these two girls who are raised by a scientist, and the scientist is using them to experiment to create a new life form. There's this subplot about the world like turning into a new world government or something. Doesn't fucking matter. That's not the point. The point
Doesn't matter.
the point is these two girls, and they are the product of lots of experimentation. And one of the girls, Elaine, is the younger of the two. At least she looks younger of the two. And she's escapes from the facility in which she's being held and befriends a young boy, and a young homeless boy who at the very beginning of the film is being bullied just to an alarming degree. And Brian's already shaking his head. Like we can't.
Because we were supposed to like, okay.
Yeah.
I feel for this young boy.
Yes.
He's a victim of his circumstances. You know,
Without a
he's an
doubt.
orphan, clearly.
Yeah.
Typically in anime, this would be your protagonist.
Right.
Like, honestly, this is like background for Naruto.
It's this character who I did not, I guess I just didn't process it because I was too watching the anime. He's called Rat, which is just a terrible fucking name.
Oh, it's a perfect name. It's
Anyway,
perfect. He's vermin.
I legitimately, like, when you start this anime, he kind of is the protagonist. He's kind of the main, like, your focus is on this character at first, and then it very quickly shifts when this girl Elaine shows up.
Yeah, the poor kid was a plot device.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, episode 1 is called A New Life, and that's the whole idea is how Genocyber comes into being. So we have this girl Elaine. She's sort of wild child, kind of feral.
Right, feral. That's the perfect word.
Yeah,
That's a
and
perfect
then
word.
there's her sister Diane, who is
Sophisticated.
she's sophisticated. She's limbless. She has no
Yes.
arms, no legs. She's a
She has a
sausage.
spinal cord. That's it.
Right. Yeah, she's got a head and a spine. Everything else is cybernetic. And that's one of the things that needs to really kind of be put at the forefront is this is very much a science fiction horror. Leans heavily into the cyberpunk has sort of adopted Genocyber is like a part of their
Yeah. It's
Yeah, and
damn
I-
sure ain't
I'm-
steampunk.
Episode 1, absolutely.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Damn sure ain't steampunk.
So you're not wrong.
But I would definitely give it cyberpunk, but without the punk. If anything,
It qualifies because you have body modifications and everything else on a few people.
Without a doubt. And on a lot of
But
people.
only episode 1.
Only episode 1. And then it really
Mhm.
just shifts.
Then it hits
gears.
sci-fi horror.
Yeah. So episode 1 is following Elaine and her friendship with this boy Rat, and they have this closeness, this sort of understanding of each other. She looks out for him, he looks out for her, kind of thing.
Right.
They don't spend too much time on it because the real point of this plot is there's this police officer who's investigating the company Kudiu, I think is the name, the Kudiu whatever,
Yeah,
and
Kiryu, yeah.
investigating them and investigating their doings because there's some weird shit happening there. So he's looking into it, and Diane is the other sister, Elaine's, I want to say, older sister, just based on
Right.
thing. She's still with the scientist who's been caring for these two girls, experimenting on these two girls, and he has weaponized her.
Yeah, not to mention, we're not talking about it. She is being raised by the scientist.
Yeah.
The scientist is not her father.
No, but she calls him that, and she like looks at him like a father.
But
he is, yeah,
he's the worst. He's the worst.
He's the fucking worst.
And we are trying, and I think I would go so far to say, part of my final thoughts is that this is one that you should watch, not for the plot.
No, I don't think so.
But the violence
You'll
in
get lost.
here.
You'll get lost if you try to keep up with the plot. I've like
You'll
every
get
once
lost
in a while
if you
when I tried to focus on it, and then it
Yeah.
was like, oh, there's a head going through someone's butt. What happened? What? You just get totally lost,
Like
and you're like, oh, those
anytime
were
you try to
guts.
focus on the plot, they would do something like
Something splatters.
Yes,
or
or gets ripped in half.
something squishy.
or the kids. Hi.
Oh my god,
They-
I don't
they
want to
always-
talk.
So
the
here's the
kids.
thing. Here's the thing. Is that's what I've always seen. Is like when you try to manage the plot, they just kill children, and then you're just
Yeah.
you're
There you
totally
go.
lost.
And you're like, fuck
And then
the
you try
plot.
to
Fuck
focus.
what's going
Then
on.
you try to
Fuck
focus
what's going
again,
on.
and the next thing you know, a chick is ripping her boobs off to turn
Yeah,
into a
yeah,
muscle
that's the
thing,
thing.
and then you're just like, what?
so-
And something's full on alien out of people, and
Yeah,
Yes.
80s and 90s anime was not afraid to kill off kids violently.
It's very graphic.
You thought that the worst it could get was like Graveyard of the Fireflies? It was
No,
like,
that's
man.
emotionally bad.
Yeah, emotional damage, Graveyard of the Fireflies. You want
But just trauma?
psychological damage?
yes,
This is yours.
this is
You're absolutely
is-
right.
When Rick gave us the warning, he said, listen, I'm going to go ahead and forewarn you guys now. This is violent. You hear that, like, man, fuck that. I'll watch the Scroll. You know,
I
fuck
thought
that.
it was. I thought it was like Hellraiser violent is what, and I was like,
Right.
oh yeah, it's pretty close.
Right. So we're saying this, and then next thing you know, you see it, and I really felt like the words was just like that. The same effect of that little parental advisory that you would get. And it that no way prepares you for the shit you're about to see.
It's just
I was, even with you telling me, hey man, you're gonna see some shit.
yeah.
I was not prepared.
That's fair. That's fair. I probably could have done a better job.
No, I think you did a great one because at least we were bracing for it. It was just, it was like the part that I hated is they did the good scenes, like the cute orange scene where the kid's
Yep.
eating the orange, and then
Yep.
next thing you know, he's getting molested and then thrown out of a window, and you're like, what?
God damn, yeah. It's something else, man. This
Yeah.
first episode has it all. It has bullying. It has parental trauma. It has generational trauma. It's got body horror. It's got everything. It's got it all.
It does not set you up for it. The final thing, do y'all remember what the final thing you see? Words, subtitles, anything. Do you remember what the final thing of this episode says?
In the first episode?
In the first episode.
I couldn't get past the fact that she turned into big old fire drake and killed everybody on a plane and then destroyed Hong Kong. I was like,
Right. It says, in China, not Hong Kong, in China was obliterated.
With
oh yes.
I'm like,
It was on this day that China was obliterated.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh my God. Oh,
There's one thing that I have to say. They did not hold back on the screams of people dying. Like
Yeah.
when the city caught fire
Yeah.
and they're talking on the thing. Usually you don't hear the outside stuff, but they made sure you heard
You
people
definitely.
burning to death.
and
Yeah.
It's like,
we-
really?
Yeah.
when we're talking about this, right? And we're talking about the whole the scale of destruction that we have normally talked about. Well, this building was destroyed by an orbital beam cannon.
Right.
We have never, from a global effect, China gone, all T-shirt manufacturing was gone, all the sweatshops, Szechuan, all that is gone. You ain't getting no type of make fun. All of that went out the window. How you saying,
So
and on this day?
the circling back to earlier in the story, the two sisters, Diane and Elaine, they exhibit powers. They have abilities. They're telekinetic, pyrokinetic. I don't know. They're a lot going on. Diane seems more cerebral than
Right.
and Elaine seems more physical.
It's the difference between Charles Xavier and Wolverine.
That's fair.
Fair.
That's
One,
a very, very good example.
then you put them together and you get Onslaught.
Truth. So much truth, Brian. So Diane is outfitted with a cybernetic suit, and her father, I'm air quoting, it sends her to retrieve Elaine, because Elaine is so very important to his research. So she has to go retrieve her, and she's according to the narrative, Diane is the only one who can control Elaine in the sense of like wrangle her. So Elaine's having a great old time being buddies with Rat.
Elaine has chosen being a homeless vagabond as her life.
Yes,
She
and-
basically said, "I'm going to go ahead and we're going to become what was the Lost Boys from fucking Neverland."
there you go. Yeah, basically. So
Well, the Lost Boys were theorized to be dead children, so
Yeah,
they're cool.
there you go. So the doctor, he
We're not going to
says,
be dropping this knowledge like this.
the doctor sends Diane to go get Elaine, and at the same time, the Kudyu group is like, "Hey, that's all well and good, but we're going to send our own people to take care of it." So they send a group of cybernetic, I want to call them bounty hunters, but they really did work for the company. They were like,
yeah, they
company
were
men.
like higher up. They were like
Yeah.
working for the people above
Yeah,
the
yeah, these
doctor.
were the G-men.
Cybernetics is alive in this
So very
universe.
much. These
know.
dudes got everything augmented. The motherfucker starts like with his ear disconnected because he's like listening in, and like they're just, there's so much happening with these characters,
The dude who
physically.
stopped the subway train,
right? Like
the
what is
spider
the
dude, who then proceeded to rip out his own brain. But
Well,
that's-
oh, so fucking good. All right, so we're gonna get to that now. I do want to talk about. So Elaine's powers are visceral and she like attacks your psyche and makes you hallucinate, see
But of
shit.
Diane.
No, that was
that was
Elaine.
Elaine. Elaine did this shit with the bugs. That was
Yeah.
Elaine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where the guy
'cause
ripped out his own brain. That was the
Yeah.
whole bug thing.
that was
Yeah,
Elaine.
Diane just breaks your brain.
Diane,
She just
yeah.
goes in and goes.
So
How do you choose which one to piss off the most?
right, seriously, Elaine doesn't want to go. Elaine's very happy with Rat, and these cyborg bounty hunter people. And I keep saying bounty. These cyborg company people. They stop a moving train, break into the train, and forcibly try to remove Elaine from the situation using Rat.
Killing everybody on the train.
Legit, like they had no fucks to give. At this point, Elaine gets a little reactive and convinces one of the G-men that his brain is being eaten by bugs, and he proceeds to rip his own brain. I want to tell you guys as listeners, when I say he proceeds to rip his own brain out, this is not.
It's not figurative.
Yeah, no, it's illustrated. This is a process that you get to experience as a viewer. And it's great. It's something else. No notes.
physics of being able to do that to yourself.
As a cyborg, though, like I kind of
Yeah.
feel like, yeah,
You know the National Geographic where they show how the monkeys break open a coconut on a rock? That's what he did to his own brain.
It was amazing. Horrible.
It was it was beautifully animated. I
Yeah,
loved it. It was like
it's just insane. So this is that, and I want to point out to listeners too that we are singling this moment out. This is not the first act of violence in this anime. This is
Oh,
just
no.
oh no.
this is just one of the ones that really stands out because he goes, Jesus H Christ, like what is that?
Bingo.
That's the first time somebody reacts to somebody ripping their own
Yeah.
brain out. I mean, you
Uh-huh.
walk through the hall of viscera and then everybody's just like, I need to change my shoes and nobody cares.
Yeah, there was that too. Yeah, it was a lot of that.
Think about
Man.
the PPE of the guys who had to come back and clean this up. Right? You
So-
think about the personal protection equipment. Like exactly how far are you gonna say, you know what, I need to change back, I need to run back and get a new outfit because I just had somebody's esophagus drop on my damn neck.
Well,
Well, to
I
be
think they
fair,
tried.
less than 20 minutes later in this episode, it doesn't matter.
Really,
Yes,
on the
because it blows
so-
up. They blow
yeah.
up the building.
so
The
Diane
entire country.
Yeah, and then
Diane intervenes with the G-Men, and she's prepared to collect Elaine, and she has a moment where she's kind of got Elaine on the ropes, and Elaine ain't having it, and they have like a big. It's neither here nor there because Elaine gets air quoting again killed.
I think
Is
she
that
get killed
this-
by Diane, right? Don't she get stabbed by
Yeah,
Diane?
Diane like punches a hole through her tummy, and so at this point, Elaine, I want to say psychic projects, merges with Diane. She
Just
moves in.
enters. She moves in. Thank you, Vic. She moves in.
Mhm.
And you don't really like know this because you're under the pretense that she's been killed now, and it's like whatever. But later on, when you find out that Elaine has merged with Diane's mind, and the two of them fuse together, and born of this fusion is Genocyber. Genocyber's the big. Oh boy, Genocyber's the hero. of the story.
I would say anti-hero.
Have y'all seen the painting of the red dragon from the movie The Red Dragon? That is what she is. Boom. That's what I saw. I was like, ooh, that's the
So
red dragon.
basically, the understudy
the
to Hannibal
devil.
Lecter. That's the
Mhm.
closest thing we have right now.
So
Yeah.
Genocyber is the
We-
character you're supposed to be rooting for.
Are we?
Well,
I
have you
don't know
seen
who you-
Humanity?
So
She,
basically, what you're saying is Sodom and Gomorrah. This is the sword.
no. She makes Sodom and Gomorrah look like playground hopscotch. That's basically.
Sodom and
What-
Gomorrah.
China
Sodom and
is gone.
Hey, look,
No,
after
she-
Sodom and
she
Gomorrah,
is-
you could season your food. After Genocyber, you ain't got shit.
Okay.
Because you're
She is Sailor Saturn when she loses her mind and drops her staff. I mean, that's pretty much, if anybody looks in any manga, if Sailor Saturn loses her mind and she drops her staff, the next page is just white.
Yeah.
That is
It's-
Genocyber. But
I-
hers is red and
So-
dripping and all that crazy stuff.
So yeah, so Genocyber forms. This is the main character. This is the whole fucking point. And the
Roll
Kiryu
credits.
group are not satisfied. The soldiers, they're not quite. They're gonna deal with this. They want to kill this thing. Like they get very upset.
Genocyber has appeared.
They're very upset about this. So then they begin to peel their own flesh off and morph into these cybernetic, xenomorphic looking fucking things. And an epic battle ensues.
Have you ever wondered how they find out that they're able to do this stuff? Like
Right,
seriously.
like when you get cybernetics, do you get a manual? Is there like a, by the way, to enter fuck it all mode?
Hey, look. You can press this button and
It's not, this is your emergency button.
Yeah.
If you want to turn into a super crazy whatever, you have to rip your boobs off.
I was
So
just
you have
gonna
to-
fucking
You
say
have
this.
to really be wanting to do this because once the boobs come off, there's no going
Oh,
you
back.
can't
I mean,
shit,
that's
yeah.
like
pretty much what
how are they
happened.
gonna say they won? Right?
Yeah. How do they
You
go
think-
back?
How do
They
they
don't
go
go
back?
back. I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
I think she was stuck
Oh.
as that mantis centipede thing, whatever.
This thing
Well,
is crazy.
less than
It's
10 minutes
crazy.
later, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Yeah, it
fucking
doesn't matter because
So
she gets her face ripped
it's
off and
No,
ripped
I'm
down
just
the
talking about the
middle.
repercussions of the decisions
yeah,
that you
of the
make.
choice. It's like I am so committed to this company that I am going to viscerally destroy my body and become something worse to deal
Right.
with this threat simply out of rage. Because at no
Right.
point does
Yes.
the KDU group be like, you need to stop her no matter what. No, they just like look at her and be like,
Oh,
man, she pissed me off. I'm a fucking killer. Like that's
that's
basically
it.
their motivation.
Escalation of
Yes.
this. It's the escalation of this. You would have thought that there would have been some type of therapy say, hey, listen, you can get pissed off,
Yeah.
or
So
let's not get this pissed off and let's go get some more help. And then you can keep your boobs.
so this whole thing escalates just massively, and Genocyber like does some shit, like fucks some shit up. There's an airplane that goes down. It's a whole thing, and they showing this airplane during the final act. And they're fucked. Like before it even
Like the plane is just
gets to that point, they're showing the plane. You're like, yeah, they're. And then they keep showing the plane. You're like, oh, these guys.
So gone. They're so gone. That's it. Done.
And then it happens, and you go, ah, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it's
it
exciting.
didn't just go down. It got
Oh, yeah.
torn into
It just-
pieces.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
But I will have to say the art when she ripped that girl in half was beautiful. I was
It-
like, that is nice.
It starts at the top, and you like make your way through the whole
Like
thing.
Rick says, beautiful destruction.
Beautiful
Yes.
destruction, baby. This anime has fuck tons of beautiful destruction.
well, you guys are hearing the term Genocyber.
Yeah.
What was your thought process of the name for Genocyber?
Well, I think it's a pretty clever compound between cyber and cyberpunk and genocide.
I just wanted to see if anybody else thought that way.
Mhm.
Yeah, no.
Yes. Yeah.
Welcome to
It's
1994.
genocide.
Yeah.
Genocide.
Uh-huh.
What's the method? Cyber.
Cyber. Yeah, it without a doubt. And it's this first episode. Honestly, this first episode is like it's a perfectly self-contained. Like you didn't need more genocide, really, after
No.
this episode.
No, not even remotely.
It illustrates the narrative perfectly. It truly does.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But
Episode
I
2.
will say that episodes 2 and 3 are probably my favorite part of the
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
episode
was so
2 and
good.
3.
Episode 2. You remember how we were just talking about in Devil Hunter Yoko?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Long-time listeners, go ahead and watch that one. First one was supposed to be hentai, and
Yeah.
then they completely steered away.
They did. Yeah. Shifted gears entirely.
If you were expecting that to happen in this one, in episode 2, you are sorely mistaken.
Episodes 2 and 3 went hold my beer. I can
Two-
do
yeah.
the gore
More
better.
2 and
violence level, yeah.
2 and 3 dialed it up. I was very
But
so
2 and
all
3
right.
felt like someone's like, ooh, Macross Plus. We're
2
going to
and
go
3
with that route.
Seriously. So 2 and 3 starts
Those 3
during
kids.
just 3. Yeah. There's this
Yes, the
country
3 ghost
Karain.
kids?
Yeah, there's this country Karain and whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that the United States send this like big experimental super carrier thing.
Which
to
looks
intervene.
badass.
It's fucking cool. Like if you like military might, this is a dope looking carrier.
like, seriously, it's the closest carrier thing that I've liked since the SDF one.
it's
And
fire.
it looked like 2 aircraft carriers
It-
connected by an SDF-1.
It did, yes. And so this thing it's called the Alexandria, and it's fucking it's really cool.
Beautiful.
So they're on their way to intervene with this Karain thing. It doesn't matter because what does matter is that a plane like calls out and they're like, I got a situation. Look, I need to land, right? So
Mhm.
they get cleared for landing. They crash land. I'm pretty sure the pilot bites it. Doesn't matter. The survivor of the assault in Karain that they were having is Elaine. Elaine is a human child again. But now with a fully cybernetic body.
Yeah.
And
She's straight up black magic the way her body looks.
she really does. Yeah, it's like she's kind of that. Almost Alita. Like she's just neck down. just
Right.
ro-
Alita's a better example.
Yeah.
Alita's a better example.
And I it's probably because she's been fused with Diane, who had no limbs,
but a cybernetic body.
Right. So this is her new form. She looks like Elaine from the neck up.
We have to say that if you're wondering if she still had the same powers, kid is opposite with her running and trying to flee with like 3 kids with her.
Yeah.
We forgot all about rats. We forgot to talk
Oh,
about
we
rats.
forgot to talk about Rat. All right, well, let's do this real quick. So the reason Hong Kong and all of China gets destroyed is because somehow in the carnage, Rat died.
Oh yeah.
Rat died. There's no real like definitive reason or method
Why?
of how Rat died. You just Rat's dead, and his ghost talks to Elaine, and like we can't play no more kind of thing. And that's when Elaine snaps and eviscerates all of China.
Oh yeah.
Think
Yeah, it
that's
just goes boom.
emotional damage to the umpteenth
So
degree.
we
So
need to
Elaine
make
has
sure
a thing with kids.
yeah. One kid died in episode 1.
One kid.
1, and China got wiped off the map.
So in episode 2,
3 kids.
we had 3 kids.
Get
These
shot
kids,
to
she was talking about how she was playing with these kids on the beach, and we were playing, and then and the kids get shot to shit. They get just,
Mhm.
and again, they do not pull punches. They animate this for you. You get to experience the carnage of human loss. You really do. You feel it.
The breaking of the Geneva Convention.
And there is absolutely and is at this point that you're like, I'm kind of with Elaine on this now. You know what I'm saying?
She destroys
So-
she transforms first helicopters.
Right.
Alexandria comes into play, the aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
And now Elaine has been rescued from that carnage,
Yes.
has transferred back to her body, and now she's
Yeah.
landing, and you may now continue. We're back. we're
Thank
caught
you.
back up.
I appreciate you helping me navigate this shitstorm. She's now in a ward and under the direct care of a female officer named.
Who has mental issues that you should be aware
If she
of. because
didn't, she does by the
she
end.
does now.
Oh,
So
for sure.
Myra, her name was Myra. So she's a medical officer on the Alexandria, and she is she begins to care for Elaine because Myra's own daughter is long since passed, not so long since passed. So she sees a little bit of her daughter Elaine, and she begins to see her as a surrogate and cares for her.
We're saying this because Alexandria is on a mission of diplomatic superiority.
Yep.
It's heading and has a mission that has to complete.
Yes.
So it's not like they were going to find Elaine. Elaine just happened to land on their ship.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
they have
She's-
the Vajra.
Yeah, they have a
Android or whatever?
Vajra. They have the Ghost Fighter from Macross Plus. So they have it's an AI powered jet. It's an AI powered experimental fighter jet. The AI, however, is a physical body. It's robot. It's fucking RoboCop, and it is they're piloting this super secret AI powered jet. And the AI is a Vajra, which is the same type of cybernetic organism that Genocyber is. And this is important because Vajra apparently don't like each other very much.
Like
So-
each other, can sense each other, even when
Yeah.
they're not even in their transformed state.
Right. They just like fucking know you're there. So the
You're bad. I have to kill you.
Well, the thing is that android is crazy. He ate the
Yep.
ship to get to her. Like
dude,
he ate it.
so episode 2 and 3 to me is sort of like an event horizon where the
Mhm.
ship itself is overtaken by this entity.
How? We call this
Right,
how.
Yeah, how. So this Vajra, I don't think they ever name it. Doesn't matter. The pilot Vajra and Elaine immediately dislike each other, and the Vajra goes out of its way to try and
Kill her. Right.
and Elaine goes out of her way to make that thing pay for that decision.
No, but the rest of the people on board Alexandria are completely clueless.
Absolutely. They're blaming the technician who brought the android or the AI fighter. Like, this is your fault. Your project fucking sucks, dude. What the hell? So anyway, look, guys, these two Vajra, Elaine and the Vajra pilot, they have a brawl that ends with limbs being severed, and the limbs,
And people getting eaten.
people getting eaten. The brain of the pilot ends up in the arm of the Genocyber. Best way I can describe it. And it loses its fucking mind after.
It's got one mission, and God forbid anyone were to stop.
It
Because
totally
and it-
borgs the whole ship. That's
He
the only thing I could. That's what
Oh.
I put in here. I was like, oh, it's a fleshy Borg ship. That's
Yeah.
what that is. Because
But the problem is Genocyber appears.
yeah, Genocyber shows
During
up
the fight.
and they have a brawl.
They have a brawl. So it happens because it gave the wonderful blonde-headed girl, her name now Laura.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Myra, the officer, she renames Elaine because Elaine can't speak, so she names Elaine Laura, like a surrogate for her daughter.
Right. So Laura / Elaine goes down, sees the robot pilot. They lock eyes, and this goes on. Elaine transforms into Genocyber. The robot pilot comes out. They fight. Robot pilot loses handedly.
Yeah,
See what I did there?
absolutely. Yeah, very nice, excellent.
And then we get episode 3.
oh god,
Elaine's presence upon Alexandria, it manifests itself negatively a couple of times.
It does. Yeah, there's the spirits of the 3 children are haunting this vessel.
and they are decaying. They are not staying young and
They are.
children-y. They are decaying.
So there's a scene where Elaine is riding like this little scooter,
Yeah.
and she just rides past the captain,
Yeah. She's
and he just has this nice tender moment with her. Hey there, Dolly, how you doing? What?
Yeah.
You gonna go this way? Go ahead.
Right?
I was like, so the little telepathic cyborg psychopath is just gonna have free reign on the ship.
Yeah, we're just gonna let we're gonna let this little kid roam the ship. The arrogance of it. That's the arrogance of the adults in this, is that this child poses absolutely no threat to us.
Right.
She can wander the ship.
She's a fucking cyborg.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the cyborg body. Oh no.
This is fine. Nevertheless, yeah, so she's playing, I'm air quoting again, she's playing with the children that she had been playing with on the shore, having a great old time. They are proceeding to haunt. The Alexandria is just slowly, and that's what I liked about these 2 episodes. The Alexandria, the morale on the ship and all of it is just kind of slowly slipping into chaos. There are soldiers on board who are losing their minds, like trying to kill themselves. Like, it's just, things start getting worse and worse. Which is
they start.
kind of why I pulled Event Horizon on it, because watching this crew slowly slip into madness, and is affecting everybody, including the lead scientist, who then has a visit from this disembodied arm and is inspired to investigate how it happened, and just goes down the path of mad scientist.
And the reason why he goes down the path of madness first is because he first tries to question Myra, because Priest tells him, it's not too late to find God. He's like, I'll believe in God when I get the answer to the question, like, how did this shit happen? He's the only one who asked him, how did this shit happen? And how is she the only one that survived when the mechanic is dead, my robot is blown to pieces? How did it happen? And Myra's like, you can't question her. So y'all just gonna...
It's like, how dare you?
Right.
Y'all just gonna let y'all don't suspect the little
None weird about this.
cyborg
None weird about that.
psychopath?
No,
Perfectly
Nope.
normal. Perfectly fine.
All the viscera around her.
Nothing to see here.
No, okay.
No,
Anime
you're
logic.
right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Hey,
It is
I can't
it is
wait
one
till
of
we
those
get to
things that-
episode 4. I can
this
be
is one of those
quiet now.
things. This is one of those things that, as a viewer, you're like, how do you not see this? What is wrong with you people? The point is nobody gives a shit. She's just this little
Yeah,
girl
I think
under
that's what it is.
under the care of Myra. The Vajra pilot goes ape shit and takes over the ship. And when I say takes over the ship, it's not like Macross Plus where Sharon Apple hacks into the Macross. This thing literally fucking becomes the ship.
It eats the ship.
It's-
It ate it.
it
In
People
all
and
of its
all.
contents.
yeah, just the crew, everything gets absorbed into this ship. But this ship starts as a super carrier and it ends as a xenomorph like vessel. Like it starts out very like science fiction y, like very like Star Trek-y, you know, it's a very nice looking ship. By the end, it looks like a H.R. Geiger thing.
With the whole face at the bottom.
Yes.
Dude, without a doubt. It's some
I was actually going to say, instead of that, I was going to say it basically turned into a floating Sarlacc pit.
it's very Sarlacc-y there in the middle.
It's ooey gooey.
A giant soggy mess.
And this whole time, Elaine's like out cold, like she's having a nap. And she's subconsciously in her sleep state protecting Myra from everything. Myra's just there like next to her bed and all this shit's happening and Myra's completely oblivious.
The skull bats or the skull centipedes where the thing come out and they rip the skull and the spinal cord right out and all of a sudden it turns into like a bug. I was like,
this is some
I
it's
was like,
some
what is
shit.
this? The Predator and Alien all at the same time?
It's all of it. It's fucking all of it. Myra freaks the fuck out, and she's like trying to get Elaine / Laura off of this ship. So they make their way out to the deck, and they see the whole ship has just become completely enveloped in this monstrous thing. And the lead scientist is there. He's like the only other motherfucker on the ship that's still there, and he proceeds to monologue. It's not important. But what is important is that at this point, the ship takes him too. Like, he does become
One with the ship.
And at this point that Laura tells Myra, she's like, you're not gonna die. Nothing's gonna happen to you. I got you.
Now, your
Brian's
Yeah.
mental state, on the other hand,
I can't
Yeah, and-
promise you're gonna come out of this sane, but you will live.
And then she proceeds to rip her face in half and becomes
Yeah.
the thing.
She becomes
And that
fucking
is where Myra's brain breaks. Like,
Jen-
she-
yeah, that's it.
I can't.
That's
The way her
Done.
face is animated. Like,
Yeah.
What the fuck? I'm so happy.
Yeah, like she snapped. She absolutely snapped. And goddamn, if this anime doesn't do a great job selling her mental state, like she's done, and they sell it. So, Genocyber, Laura / Elaine / Diane, Genocyber, has it out with this super carrier, the now Vajroid Alexandria, and kicks its ass.
Super easily.
Barely an inconvenience. And they managed to get Myra off of this ship. And at this point, Genocyber is like flying in the sky with his wings spread, and Myra's so fucking gone that she's like calling out to her. Like, it's my baby, Laura, come back to like, and the pilots are like, bitch, sit down. Like, she's gone. And you find out that the way her daughter had died is she was on the plane that Genocyber tore in fucking half in the first episode.
she was the little girl that you saw flying down the aisle.
That was her. That was. God damn if they didn't tie a pretty little bow on that.
Oh, they did.
and then the entire country of Korean
It-
gone.
Yes. Then it goes,
Yep, it's a whole another country gone, and thus ends the first half of this arc. And we took a lot of time with the first half, and that's because it's really not. The second half isn't as beefy, but it's still going to be fun to talk. So we're going to get into it. So the second half starts with a really the best way to describe
a genocide
We're-
montage is
we are
basically
genocide.
what
Yes,
I'm
we are
Yes.
now in post-apocalyptic Earth. So basically,
100 years
Genocyber
have passed.
it's been 100 years, and this is where
Mhm.
things get a little muddy. So it's been 100 years.
Episode 4 starts off with a very ominous phrase. These are the end times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, they were right.
Yeah.
They were
It-
right. The leader of the Kuryu group at this point in time is an elderly man who is monologuing about how fighting Genocyber for 100 years, and they have been unsuccessful in stopping its onslaught. So the Genocyber has snapped. It has gone apeshit. Remember, first episode, they killed one kid, we wiped out China. Second episode, they killed 3 kids. So now all of Earth has to suffer. So Genocyber goes full-blown Antichrist. Like, it's the devil itself. It's laying waste to Earth. And the Kuryu group is like, we just trying to clean up our mess. Like, we did this shit. We're going to figure out a way to stop. So this guy's monologuing about it. We've been doing it for 100 years and we never stop. We will fight you even if it takes centuries. We're going to fight you or we're going to figure this out. Then it kind of like cuts and pivots to this super massive dragon-themed space station that's been under construction. And then they don't say it, but I feel like it's now been several hundred more years since then, because it shows on there, it says it's like 2,400. So they don't say how long it's been, but it's been a long fucking time.
Been a long time.
Been long enough for humanity to be decimated and new civilizations to have formed. Because now we have a city called Ark City or Grand Ark City or
Ark City. But
That's celebrating its 50th
very
anniversary.
important to note that they didn't kill Genocyber. Genocyber just went, I'm tired. We're taking a nap.
Facts, right? And they don't fucking tell you how or why it happens. Just Genocyber gets bored winning. So it's, you know what? I'm gonna take a nap. I'm good. This is fine. I've done enough. And so now Genocyber is like a stony sleep state. It's the best I can describe. So we cut now. We're in the Ark City or Grand Ark. I don't know, some shit like that. And the second arc doesn't even really have Elaine in it.
Yeah.
It's more like these are the repercussions of what has happened because of. We're introduced to 2 new characters, Ryu and Mel. They're like carnies.
We got to talk about Ryu.
Oh, we will talk about Ryu. So they're a carny couple who moved to Ark City to be in hopes of a brighter future. You know, they're like vagabond carnies, and they come in with their parlor tricks. May is blind, but she can like psychically see people and shit. And Ryu is hardcore carny. He's a knife throwing at the girl on the wall carny guy. And that's his like skill set.
Blindfolded.
Right. Blindfolded. Yes, of course. Very important. Blindfolded. Plot point. Brian, what do you want to say about Ryu? We talk about he's not a headband wearing martial artist.
Yes. He is the most Hadouken-less Ryu in existence. Dan is more terrifying.
Without a doubt. None of that going on. So he's caring for May. They're a couple. At first, I thought maybe they were siblings, and then they're very much
prove that wrong.
They're right. You're not. I was just gonna say, at least you hope they're not, but
it's like no relation was ever actually mentioned.
They came here in hopes of creating a better future for themselves, so they find odd jobs, or Ryu finds a job, and May does like her whole like divination stuff as like sideshow kind of thing to make some.
You know what? I gotta give you that. I will go say fortune telling, and you up the game with divination. Well, I'm the Muggle, and you clearly Ravenclaw. Thank you very much.
All right,
and I'm over here thinking she's over here being Miss Cleo.
Call me now. So she Ryu, basically they're struggling. They're not having a great time. You find out that our Grand City has a really shitty leader. Just like the mayor of this city, whatever he is, he's a real piece of shit. And he has issues being disobeyed. Mirroring a lot of really famous politicians in this day and age. Really just doesn't like people disagreeing with him or standing up to him or rebelling against him.
Promotions in this is a bitch.
Or organized religion in any capacity, or just like really just not into any of it. So he's got himself an army, police force, army. I don't know.
Peacekeeping force.
Peacekeeping force. Thank you. I like that. A peacekeeping force of stormtrooper like douchebags, and Ryu and Mei get into some trouble. First of all, they get it on. That's the reason we were alluding to them maybe not being related, but like you can't
And,
tell this.
and instead of like moans and stuff, they do something weird. They are having a conversation about their financial woes.
Without a doubt. As I know, nothing gets my gears going
Oh.
more than talking about being in debt.
Oh, say it
Man.
again for me, Daddy.
You bring up a medical bill, oh, it is on.
Oh,
So,
I'm so Twitter pated. Oh.
so they're having a conversation during the scene, talking about their financial woes, and Ryu's like, "It's gonna be all right. We got this." And
skate, you're blind.
he gets odd jobs, and he ends up getting a job doing his knife throwing thing for some rich people, oligarchs, and the oligarchs, of course, don't care about Muggle normies. They don't care about the middle class or the lower class. They're just using them for entertainment. So they get Ryu to blindfolded knife toss at a board, just like any knife toss would, and then they get him to do it again, except this time they put a person on the thing, and Ryu kills him. So he's not happy about that.
Especially when they try to arrest him.
Especially when they try to arrest him for murder. Jeez. So he and Mei, they run, and they go to the ruins beneath the city where they find a religious sect who has been worshiping the stoned carcass of the Genocyber.
Yep.
That's God to them. They refer to him as God.
But even alluding to the fact that humanity rose up, pissed off the gods.
Uh-huh.
The gods came down, Sodom and Gomorrah, smite, seasonings for everybody, and now here we are, we're back.
Right.
You shouldn't piss off the god. So
Right.
if anything, they know shouldn't piss them off.
They do know this. They
and
should
what
know.
did they intend to do?
Piss it off.
They piss it off.
They piss it off. So they think Mei can hear Genocyber, and spoiler alert, she can. But it's not going her way. So anyway, they get roped in with this, and she ends up being like their messiah, because she can hear God. The governor, president, whatever, he decides he's sick of these religious sycophants, and he wants them taken care of. So he sends his stormtroopers down there to go deal with this.
They were, how did he say it? They were forcibly removed.
Forcibly removed.
Forcibly removed.
From
They
life.
Forcibly removed them from
The
existing.
smooth way to say extermination.
That's the one. So they which is, it's kind of an interesting thing. She's legitimately been talking to Genocyber, but when they shoot her, and shoot her they do, her psyche merges with Genocyber as well.
Kind of jumpstarts Genocyber.
Jumpstarts Genocyber. Genocyber wakes up, and Genocyber doesn't just wake up. Genocyber goes full fucking Godzilla and becomes fucking kaiju. So,
Well, you should also preface that with she was pregnant, and then they do a nice overshot of her cradling all these dead children.
oh yeah,
You
it's
can't-
it's a
you can't
visual.
really-
you
Right.
cannot-
You
So-
can't really gloss over that.
One,
Yeah.
destroys China.
Yeah.
3, destroys the world.
Destroys the world.
The whole...
A whole village.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
She goes to
it's-
space.
it's fucking chaos. So yeah, so the Genocyber wakes up, and now there's at least 3 psyches in here, because like you said, she was pregnant. So then there's like unborn child psyche in here too, right? So we got a whole bunch of brains inside this. Genocyber wakes up, is a massive kaiju, at least 150 feet tall, kills the mayor like instant. It's just like,
Because the mayor was so stupid enough to say, we've eradicated everybody. We are now going to have a parade.
we're gonna have a parade, a big fancy military. It's gonna be beautiful, the best parade you've ever seen. Everybody says. So he has himself a big old self-congratulating parade, and Genocyber wakes up and nuffs that motherfucker out with 0 issue. Just a footnote.
He
President's
first crushes the car,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then takes a
Mhm.
car and
And
smashes
smashes
it
it
into a
right into
wall.
a building.
It was fucking amazing.
I was like,
Got the
Yeah.
massive hellfire. The soldiers all go out. We're gonna get her, and then the
Yeah.
hellfire comes out, and then they go, "Oh my god!"
All right, so
You watch it.
Genocyber destroys this city with not like it did China or not like it did Korea. No, it destroys this city viscerally.
With
It takes
effort.
it takes this thing apart brick by brick. Like it's taking its time with this city
yeah.
is what it is. The other
It's
ones it was just
savoring the destruction.
that's it. The other ones were just acts of passion
It's not
and
beautiful
blind
destruction no more,
rage.
bitches.
In this
No,
one, it was
you get mercy killings with 3. You kill a whole village of children, I'm gonna take you out
I'm
individually.
taking my time with you. And at this point, the space station wakes up. It's like, we
Oh,
have
yeah.
detected Genocyber, activate systems, whatever. And Genocyber don't like that at all. So,
Mm-mm.
so
There was a knocks on the front door.
right, seriously. So Genocyber's like they're like getting ready to take off, and it lets May go is the best way I can word it.
Yeah.
Like the Genocyber decides, thanks for waking us up. We're gonna give you your Ryu, and May, you can take 5. We got this. We're gonna take it from here.
Basically, he said the same thing he told Myra.
Right.
You're gonna live.
You are not gonna die today. So
What? No.
all right, and at this point, you're like, okay, but will she be sane? So anyway, so it's kind of cool because at this point you get to see Elaine and Diane again. Diane's sort of been in the background of this, kind of talking to May this whole episode, and now you actually kind of see them as Genocyber leaves the Earth to go engage with this giant fucking dragon space station. Knocks on the front door, like Vic said, and looks around. There's like nothing in this room except a TV. CRT style, baby, and is playing a looping message. That shit must have been on loop for hundreds of years. Genocyber looks around, is like, nah. Like, just freezes the entire space station. Barely an inconvenience. This space station did jack shit. This master weapon.
Except
did
crashing
nothing.
back into the Earth.
Yeah, this was an Elon Musk vessel. It did nothing but crash and burn. So it breaks up beautifully. And you're left with May healed. May can now see in the wake of all this destruction. And May hears baby cry from
The
what I can only
distance.
describe as a gigantic stone silhouette of Genocide.
Mhm.
And she hears these child cries come from there. And that's it.
Roll credits.
That's it. Roll credits. You get a post-credit, like not post-credit, a during credit kind of like photo montage of her with 2 children. One of them being a boy, dark hair, and the other one, a little blonde girl. So Laura, Elaine, don't know. And you know what? You'll never know because they never did more.
Nope.
The end.
The end. Question
I
mark.
know we
dot,
said we
dot,
weren't going to
dot.
do an episode break by break.
Well, I mean, we really didn't. We could
We
have
skimmed over it.
Like this was like we really skimmed over and glossed over a lot of the bigger
Right.
parts.
Yeah.
All right, some mindless musings before we get into this. A little more dramatic thoughts on this. The director Koichi Ohara. This guy's got some cred, man. He was a mechanical designer for Gunbuster. He designed the Gunbuster. He worked on Macross 2 in mechanical design, so he's got a lot of cred. And visually, credit where credit is due. I think he did visually. He directed the shit out of that. And one of the members of the production team was also Shinji Aramaki. Now we've talked about Shinji. He did Genesis Climber Mosquito. He did Maddox 1, mechanical design through the roof. The guy knows his shit. That's just 2 of the staff members that I took time to look up. That worked on this project. Animation-wise, there's a reason it looks as good as it does. And it does look really good. Alarmingly detailed. It's the way I would describe Genocyber.
Especially for an early to mid 90s series.
I I think I need to go in at first.
I would love for you to go first. And I think the rest of the panel agrees with me
Yes.
on that. So
Mhm.
It's a roll. 10 out of 10. Gore of it, out of 10. The mech aspect of it, or the cybernetic aspect of it, except for the first episode, I actually have to say it's less. I would say it's more 3 out of 10. Because they don't really lean into the mech, even the mechanical aspect of a cyber, except more biological.
Yeah.
When they present it, and not just Genocyber, but the
Mhm.
pilot.
Vajra. Or
Vajra.
Vajra, yeah.
Yeah. But with the pilot one, it feels more biological as opposed to cybernetic.
Agreed.
I found myself lost in what exactly I was supposed to be watching.
Sure.
Is it a cyber monster, or it? And again, if they took off the cyber and say it's a bio entity,
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Genocyber reads more bioweapon.
right?
Mhm.
Always did
So,
to
yeah.
me.
So I have to knock them on what they presented.
Yeah.
Yes. The plot, couldn't tell you. Could not tell you, because anytime I was trying to grab on it, like Annette said, it was like, oh, they're bringing some wonderful. Oh, what the fuck is that? You know, so and then who are you rooting? Are you rooting for the creature that is destroying all of humanity? Not once, not twice, 3 times, but over 100 years, and then plus that some more. What the fuck are we watching? I don't know what the
Mhm.
mission, what the point is of this,
Right.
other than doom and gloom.
Yeah. I get that. I get that. You really it is one of those things you go, in either arc, who is the even arc 1, who is the protagonist? Who is the antagonist is kind of, it's like whoever's doing the bad shit. But then you go,
Whoever
okay,
is
well, wait a
pissing
minute.
off Genocyber.
Apparently, whoever's pissing
Right,
off Genocyber
Right,
is the
whoever
antagonist.
pissing off Genocyber, and then we're supposed to say, well, y'all got what y'all asked for. Y'all pissed her lady off. So yeah, it makes perfect sense that she's going bedlam.
Right.
Is that really the message? So
It's
yeah,
it's a hard one. It is. It's a difficult thing to peg down narratively. I agree with you. Despite this, despite those your feelings about it narratively, you did give it high praise for a lot of the other aspects of it. How do you feel that this holds up by today's standards? Like, is this something that you think newer audiences can and should view?
plot wise, I don't know if I'm able to. It's on the plot. I guess it comes down to who am I recommending this for.
Okay.
You know, this is definitely not a Studio Ghibli type thing where it alludes to something. Like we have covered some wonderful, and especially since finding out that the people who directed it have connections to some wonderful animes in terms of plot generation. We should have been able to come up with something better than, if you piss it off, everything goes, and we're going to just keep this up in multiple episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I got
it's not like we have a resolution for there. Even if they said, what would be the purpose of those two merging?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any measure of peace? What are they searching for? We don't have
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm a guy where I need to have meat and potatoes. I want the whole experience.
Yeah.
So the person who I'm potentially recommended to could be a psychopath.
Oh man. All right. Okay. I accept accept that answer as maybe, depending on your psychiatric state.
I actually want to find out what your therapy. Do you go to therapy? Yes. Are you right in your own spirit? Do you even believe in God? So if you can say yes to all those things, that you're right spiritually. Nah, if not, then I potentially could be helping you write a manifesto for bringing it all down.
All right. Okay, who wants to go next? Lynette, you want to take a stab at it?
I think this is for all ages. Doesn't matter. Anybody can.
It's the next generation's Ponyo. It's for you.
With the game violence that we've got going on, I'm gonna pull one of those types of speeches where you got kids who are willing to do like Game Theft Auto, Warcraft, Call of Duty, things like that, Resident
Right.
Evil. I would say this is for all ages. You want to see all the gore and all that other stuff. This is good for you. Take the children, take popcorn, enjoy. Just go off and enjoy.
What is happening?
Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
But for real, be a little older. This actually answers the question of what happens when you completely freak out over the smallest things. You know, and not that killing the children is small, but it's not that killing children is small,
Oh,
but it's
man.
one of those things that's like, it's like one child, she destroys a whole country. So it's kind of like the equivalent of she stubbed her toe, got really mad, and blew up the world, blew up that country.
Not to
And then the
mention
next
all the
one,
children in that
Only
country.
the thing she stubbed her
not to
toe on.
mention all the other children. So she stubbed her toe, which is the poor rat dying, and
Yeah.
decided that all the other little mother effers, those children, don't deserve
Say it.
to live.
Take it back. Say it. All the
Burn
other
down the
who?
orphanage.
Say it,
They
Lynette.
don't deserve to live. And then so the next one is 3 go down, and she goes,
Mhm.
F this ship, F your mom, F your dad, I'm gonna take out this country too. And then proceeds to do
Do that.
100 years worth of F
Okay,
you,
this-
F your mother, F your dog. I'm gonna kill you, your mother, your neighbor, your dog, and your uncle all at the same time because I hurt my hand. Is
Right.
basically what those 3 children equal to. So it's kind of like what happens when you put too much of emphasis and you
Yeah.
react really bad to that.
Killing
you know?
all the kids, all the while killing
Yes,
all
she
the
killed
kids. at the
every
same time.
child because I
All of 'em.
lost 3, no children at all, none.
This is what
You know?
nobody gets ice cream. That's it.
You cannot have any children, no children at all.
Like
You know, so I was like, okay, all right. She got a flat tire, so she set her car on fire. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
it.
fine. But but no plot. You can't
Yeah.
grasp plot. You can't grasp the story because as soon as you try to, someone's brain is coming out the butt or their butt is coming out of their face. And you just-
It's some yeah.
Something's going through something.
It's not yeah. Yeah,
You
you're
know.
never wrong.
Yeah,
Alright.
so but I would say, yeah, anybody. I would definitely recommend people watch it just because it has that nice shock factor. But
It
yeah.
really does shock the shit out of you. I agree.
Mhm.
Oh man. All right, Vic, you're up next, buddy.
Okay, so according to Brian's logic, hi, I'm the psychopath.
I
But
knew
no,
it.
seriously,
Duh.
first and foremost, I mean, growing up when this was released, it's like, you know, a majority of the people buying anime in the early and mid 90s were people between the ages of 12 and 16, and definitely none of them should have been watching this.
Yeah.
I'm also not sure if it's my 30 plus years experience of watching anime of all kinds. I remembered it being more visceral and violent than what I felt watching it this time.
Dude, same. Go ahead.
I watched it. It's like, you know, when we gave everyone the warning last week, it's like, you
Yeah.
know, prepare, it's hyper violent and this.
Yeah.
And watching it, it's like, okay, it's a little violent. I'm sure I've seen worse, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Me personally, I enjoyed the first episode over the rest.
Yeah.
The last 2 episodes, not a fan of at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed stylistically the difference between episode 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5. Stylistically, it's like it looked like 3 different teams worked on it.
Entirely possible.
Mm-hmm.
So because like in the mid 90s, you know, there was a shift in anime design and everything. The colors started getting brighter and everything sharper looking and everything else. And 2 and 3 looked more like something you would find in mid to late 90s as opposed to when it actually released. And then episode 4 and 5, it's like it looked like 4 and 5 was from a time before 3 and 4 were, or 2 and 3 were animated.
Sure.
And well, episode 1 definitely looks like early 90s animation.
Yeah.
It is violent. I mean, the story overall, it's not deep.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 1, for sure, 100% cyberpunk. Episodes 2 through 5, more just sci-fi horror. I enjoyed it. I'll watch it again, probably at least once more in the next 20-something years. It's definitely not for the squeamish. It's, you know, if I'll use something like some of the modern violent anime. If you watch something like Hell's Paradise and you weren't happy with the violence there, you definitely cannot handle Genocyber at all. At the same time, it's like a perfect capsule of the kind of stuff that was released at that time.
Yeah.
You know, it had, you know, highly fluid animation. It had the violence. It had the gore. It had the sci-fi elements. It's like a perfect picture of that era. And I enjoyed it for that. It was a nostalgia trip, despite the fact that I could have sworn it was way worse.
I actually have a comment on that I'll play into here. So, Vic, are you saying then that you feel like this is definitely something anime fans should pick up?
I think if you're not bothered by violent anime, if anything, at least the first episode, you know, it's only 5 OAVs. The first episode is less than an hour. The next 4 episodes are roughly half an hour, give or take a few minutes. So it's, you know, it's 2.5 hours to 3 hours and you're done. So if you've got the time and it doesn't bother you, I don't see why not. If anything, at least the first episode.
So I spent some time thinking about this because I, like you, Vic, I remembered being more stunned by it when we watched it. And then I remembered that was because it was 1990 something, right? And the craziest thing we'd seen at this point had been Akira.
Exactly.
So there was Akira, and then there was like this. So for the time, this was the bar for gore, for what anime could be. So remembering that, I was prepared for something that in my head was worse than what I actually saw. It was very bad, violently, but we as a society pushed past that squeamishness and have made things far worse. Now, for frame of reference, this weekend I watched Castlevania Nocturne. It premiered. So I was like, I'll tell you, I'm going to binge watch Castlevania. So the wife and I, we sat down, watched Castlevania, fucking loved it. But you watch something like that now. To then watch Genocyber was kind of like, oh yeah, okay. Like, you know, whatever. It really didn't have the punch that it had to me as a teenager.
Let me ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
That being stated.
Yeah.
And I'll even pose this to Vic as well.
Okay.
Lynette's the only sane person here. I have a hard time watching Castlevania myself.
Sure.
Because of the fact that how dark it has to get before it starts getting light.
Without a doubt.
Right?
It is undoubtedly a horror.
Problem with that is that eventually it turns up.
Yep.
You're gonna like
you get your HEA, the heroes win the day eventually. It gets dark.
Right.
but light does shine through.
I have a hard time myself being left in a place of darkness.
That's where my final thoughts were going with this one, Brian. This anime is all the darkest parts of something like that anime, like the Castlevania anime, with none of the positive outcome. This anime is a great psych experiment. This anime is for philosophers. This anime is nihilistic. This is nihilism as an anime. This is that God is dead, life is nothing, life is meaningless. That is that style, that philosophical viewpoint, that is Genocyber. Nothing matters. It's very much this philosophical pessimism. All this effort by these people to control life, to create life, to do this, all for it to mean nothing, for the destruction to be the end result, for there to be no savior. Nothing comes to save the day. That is what Genocyber is to me. It's nihilism at its finest. Like if you were to say, who is this anime for? For philosophers. That's who this anime is for. This anime is for people
Philosophy of what?
Nihilism is a philosophy, right? So if you're studying philosophy, you want a really good visual example of what that sort of like chaotic life is meaningless kind of thought process is. This is that anime. There is no light here.
Welcome to the Black Parade.
No, there's no happy ending.
There's no hope in this. None. To me, it was a prime example of that. And if you watch this in the wrong mental state, you're not kidding about having a manifesto. This motherfucker is your manifesto. So it's a tricky thing to recommend because, like, you got to be in the right headspace to maybe watch this anime. Because like you said, Brian, there's no happy ending here. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. The Belmonts don't save the day. The Belmonts get fucking torn into pieces.
The Belmonts are part of the problem. I'm like,
and I think that's what makes this sort of unique in its own sense. You know what? It also kind of reminds me a little bit, and I know I'm dragging on, but it's a little bit Evangelion. When Evangelion was made, he was in a dark place, mentally. Like a lot of depression, a lot of what is the point of life kind of shit. That's what this feels like.
The same kind of mindset.
Yeah, this feels like that same mindset, that fuck everything. Like nothing matters. It's a dangerous path to be on in life. It's a dangerous place to be at mentally. And this anime might negatively affect you. You are in a bad place. So now I feel like, so all right, so whereas like Evangelion is about like self-harm and self-loathing and this is more of like just all of life in and of itself. None of it has value. Fuck everything. Visually stunning, of course. Anime is a beautiful medium that can do a lot of things beautifully. Beautiful destruction, beautiful slaughter. It's all handled with great detail. Plot-wise, it's very negative. There's no hero. The irony here is that as nihilistic as this anime is, it's got this like upbeat fairy dreaming end song for the credits every time. Just like
It Clockwork Oranges you.
Could you pick a more mismatched thing than the end song?
It Clockwork
this.
Oranges you.
It's
100%.
every time it breaks me down and makes me hate life and existence, and then that song comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, that's just good. It starts again in the next episode. It's ridiculous.
and
It's
it picks up
wild.
right where it leaves off.
So yeah, I think if you're gonna watch this, you might want to keep your expectations in check about that. You will see something visually stunning. You may see something visually shocking. As Americans in the West, as the West in general, North America, all of it. As the West in general has come to embrace animation as a medium, the types of stories that you have access to have grown in range. So now you have things like Castlevania, and you have things that are these bright, beautiful, shining spots of childlike innocence like Ponyo. You have this wild huge gamut of what animation as a medium can be. So this might not be as shocking to you as it was to all of us when animation was that thing kids watch on Saturdays. This very much broke that illusion. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for our show. So until next time, keep calm and remember that we love you, fairy dreamin'.
You've just been privy to the mindless midlife musings of the anime nerd, presented by Geek Grotto. For show notes and corrections, or for general geeky fun, you can visit our website at geek-grotto.com. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast app, please like, follow, and subscribe.